Are we ready to pack up this Taraji and Keith Lee situation? Because it's the 4th of July, Gulie, and we got to get these burgers and these hot dogs on the grill real fast. All right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Miss Fox, the I Refuse podcast. I know it's been almost 2 weeks, but bitch, I'm still out here. I was this close to minding my African American business. Y'all woke me up. I was waiting. Had to work, do all my other shit first. But I had to come out here. It felt like a Friday, but it's only Wednesday. And y'all are stressing me out. Y'all are stressing me out. Y'all are stressing me the fuck out. Oh, no, matter of fact, it's Thursday. The EBT Awards were Sunday. I didn't watch. Didn't need to. Because we got social media telling everybody everything. The EBT Awards, y'all had a lot to say. There was so much going on. Impressive said it was mid. She sounded like she'd been 12 all of her life. But with all the highlights, you know, the Usher tribute, which a lot of y'all were setting yourselves on fire, saying, well, why did he have all female performers doing his tribute? Is there no male singers that could have did it? I felt like it was smart. Two things to deduce from that moment. A, male R&B is dead. Two, Usher is not your standard fare. I've said on this podcast, whether it's here on the YouTube channel or on the actual podcast, available on 8 streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Usher is the last male superstar of our generation. Beyonce being the last female superstar of our generation. Usher is not a slack on any of the components that makes a superstar. He can dance, he can perform, entertain, move a crowd, sing, and the mic is always on. When you look at Usher, and all of us have been outside long enough to know the difference. It was reaffirmed at the Super Bowl halftime show, his Las Vegas residency, that even now he can do all of it at the same time. When you have a benchmark like that and you look at the current state of R&B with male singers, you have some that do okay singing, but don't dance or can't dance. You have some that can dance, and maybe one that can sing and dance, but when you've been in a courtroom one too many times, and it's clear there's something else going on, and the music is sounding the same, and that's the closest we can get to Usher, it wouldn't have been enough. And then you think about it, Usher was being serenaded to during his tribute, similarly to how he serenades women during his shows. So it was cute. Some of the choices, I know had y'all scratching your head like, why is Marsha Ambrosius part of this tribute? It was kind of weird. The song choices weren't all that bad. I mean, Chloe did Eat Up Good Kisser. Coco did pretty well with There Goes My Baby. Um, Victoria Monet and Tiana Taylor ate up Bad Girl. And all of us knew immediately where that performance was from. When I tell you that performance alone put the L in LGBTQIA+, and shout out to Victoria Monet. That was her night, rightfully so. Even though, the album is almost 2 years old, they've really been putting a lot of gas into supporting her now that she's, a Grammy winner and a Best New Artist Grammy winner. They're like, all right, we gonna go full steam ahead. And she's been eating every performance up. A lot of people on the timeline were like, we love the music and we talk about it all the time. Some people are just like, it's just not curling all the way around for me. They're looking at the live performances and it's like they're saying to themselves and sharing with us, she's doing the exact same thing that like 12 other girls are doing. I don't get it. And I think that is an ode to oversaturation. It's kind of hard when you're a part of a generation that grew up with, in the same hemisphere as Michael Jackson and Prince and, Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, that gave you everything in their own way. But it's like she may not be like the second coming, like the next female superstar, but she's definitely somebody that has a talent, does the work, is bringing back, along with Tinashe, bringing back, dance, routines, counts, and the mic is always on. She definitely went to the school of Beyonce, to where breath control is important, stamina, endurance, and making sure you have crossed every T and dotted every I in performing. So Victoria Monet, for me, gets that for me. She definitely went to the school, like I said, of Beyonce and Janet Jackson. I see like 1980s control era Janet Jackson and Victoria Monet and some of her dances and stuff. It's given some late stage Rhythm Nation. But anyway, there wasn't a lot of talk or enough talk about Usher's tribute and what it really meant and what was really going on. Like, male R&B is dead. Y'all had a short list of choices that from male singers that y'all could have put, that y'all wanted to see, like Luke James. Y'all swear y'all want this man at every tribute. And it's like, Luke James is more known for being that tribute guy or biopic guy than a catalog of music. He did the Johnny Gill tribute, the New Edition tribute. He did a Tony Braxton tribute. And, recently y'all have been giving him a little reverence for, his Amazon Prime show that he's on. I haven't watched it, but y'all said him, y'all said Durand, and y'all gave some other folks that I wasn't even aware of. And, there was a little bit of fire around why wasn't Durand part of the BET Awards or allowed on the show or something like that. And he said something about he wasn't famous enough. I'm like, I mean, you work. I mean, you do the live shows, you do the open mics, the music is cute and everything. But you just now getting hot. You know what I mean? You have other acts in the same hemisphere who have put in like a lot of background work and are just now getting their shine. And it's like for me, Duran doesn't have like a standout moment. Like he ate up the cipher a couple years ago, but you TikTok famous, you know what I mean? Um, and this is coming from somebody that remembers you being one of Erica Badu's backup singers and backup dancers. You were actually on the Soul Train Awards. What was that? 2018, 2019, backing her up on vocals during her medley of songs. That's a big deal because this is a Badu household. So I get it, but it's like you got probably like a couple more years, and you just need something that kind of lasts a little longer. The thing that trips me out is like social media has allowed, for better or worse, um, a lot of people from their houses to get to these celebrity functions and be on the same red carpet as a Kelly Rowland or a Beyonce or, you know, all that other stuff. And even when a person gets to being in the same hemisphere and being in front of the camera and having photos and shit taken, it's worked out for some. There's a small window, but there's also a few people that kind of seep in, and they have a moment, and it's clear that it's from their responses the ego. The ego is hurt, and you can't just let shit go. And it's like y'all have done this to us. I blame the audience. Y'all have other TikTok famous people that y'all have written about. Y'all have done whole fucked up think piece videos about. Y'all have frowned upon and had so much to say. Well, why are you putting another black business, and it's like this particular thing has overshadowed the whole entire thing. And I don't usually give EBT awards a lot. Um, there was definitely a turning point for the EBT awards. A lot of us are revering the Monique days when she would host the EBT awards, and people actually gave it their all. Even the host, like, the show is going to be good when we're talking about the host a lot. And as EBT has traded hands, Bob Johnson had it for a while, made a lot of money. He put his mistress to work allegedly to come out and say a couple of things on the mic through questionable fashion choices, and it was cute. Like the early to mid 2000s, EBT Awards was cute. But now that we have social media stars and TikTok famous people and people that are famous on Google, the Black Google, we're having more shit come out, and it's just like it wasn't even that deep. So I'm gonna need Keith Lee. This is more on Keith Lee than it is Taraji. Keith Lee to pack it on up. I don't know whose idea it was to bring him off of the interstate, with his personal vehicle to pull up to the theater and walk into the EBT Awards. And I guess because he's in the front row, rubbing shoulders with folks that have a catalog of impact, just decides he wants to be a whole ass. And I'm just like, okay, too soon, too soon. Now, like I said, I didn't watch the EBT Awards Sunday, but I know enough to know this is what happens when people get official camera time and think that they something. First, it was the clip Keith Lee posted on social media, after the fact, of him holding the rose and dropping it. And he was quick, he thought he was quick by, in deleting it. But y'all won't let motherfucker forget shit. So that was a whole thing about that. And this all came from a skit that Taraji Henson was leading, as a commentator or a host, one of the hosts of the show, where she was being cute and flirtatious, kind of working the front row. And she had rehearsed this. There was a full rehearsal with production before she went out there with a goal to hit all her marks, which she did. And there was, I would say, probably an intentional flub. Y'all gonna be in the comment sections correcting me and saying a whole bunch of shit. I know y'all are. And we welcome. But she was being flirtatious and silly and, Taraji, entertaining and working the crowd. And I guess there was some roses involved. I think it was supposed to go to somebody else, or she thought it was somebody else. And I guess there was some expectation from our perception from Keith Lee that she should have known. So he did a whole thing with the rose that he got and threw it down. For you to go out of your way, after the moment then passed, the evening went to other things, because in the clip where he drops the rose, it's doing somebody's performance on the stage. Like we've moved past the situation, and you're trying to create a moment like, she should have known who I was, and she dissed me. I don't want this fucking rose. But see, you thought you were slick and trying to delete it real fast and think we wouldn't notice. I don't care one way or another. I'm just reacting or having my part, say about it. They caught you. It renewed interest in the whole thing. And it's you that started this, right? Taraji did her job being a professional. We've had a whole EBT night of the awards. We moved on. It's a new work day. And here you come with the bullshit. And this is a dude who has made a presence in a short amount of time. I don't even think like a year or so, of being in the car, driving all over the place, probably in a rental, to experience food from predominantly black areas, Atlanta. I think he was all up and through New York City. He even came to Baltimore, and eat and review the food and everything. Been good for the community, I guess, to some effect. Has highlighted restaurants that a lot of people probably didn't even know about. So it was pretty good. But let's not act like you had a TLC show or a home and good show for a couple years. Let's not act like you the dude from the Hot Wing show. I mean, you just the dude that props up your iPhone in your car. And here's the thing, like, There are a lot of people that do that. Shit, I'm doing it right now while I'm at my car. I make sure that I refuse content, podcast content in front of this flag that says, Welcome to the shit show. Welcome to the shit show, because we can't get past 2 days without nonsense, or 24 hours. But, you have some folks that find themselves in a legitimized position. Tisa Risa signed the CAA. Haven't heard much from her since. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there is a way. And, everybody may not get that opportunity from the iPhone, but let's not act like, you really somebody outside of TikTok. You're not the only person doing the few reviews. You're not the only person driving around in the Honda, eating at places and doing reviews. Anybody can do that. But it's just funny to me that, like, along the way, you've shown yourself, even after the damn show, just being aggressive and aggravated and irritated by people. And it's like, you probably may not have foreseen this coming through, cities and stuff and doing reviews, that you made it somewhere and you turning out like the baby. And I know you can fight, but it got to a point to where he made another video, Keith Lee, and was like, I guess, trying to clear it up. I'm like, okay. Here's somebody trying to get back in people's good graces. A lot of us with jobs don't even give a fuck. And this is something that you started. But here's a video complete with zoom ins and edits and all this stuff, saying, it wasn't my intention and this and that and this and that. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm like, you could have just went back out on the road and picked up, your reviews and stuff and just went on about your day. Taraji done moved on to her next gig, probably low paying again, and went on about her professional life. But you woke her up. You woke her up. She cleared the air, and in doing so, ate you up a little bit. Clear that your ego is bruised. I was hitting my marks. I was professional, on time, doing my thing. And I guess you felt like we should have recognized who you were, or I should have known who you were. She called your name. She said your name loud and clearly in front of the camera, which could have opened more doors for you. But, attitude determines your latitude. So for you to go on after that, literally from the moment you're still in the auditorium, to feel like, this rose wasn't, I mean, she wasn't for me, wasn't my moment or whatever. And it's like, no, you should have led with that first, instead of, you having the rose and then dropping it. Like, ugh, how dare she? She ate your ass up, and she kept it cute. But like I've said before this week on the podcast, when you do clownery, the clownery comes back to bite. But this is what we got. This is what we have. And I didn't even get on the fashions. Listen, I was down here minding my African American business just yesterday. And somehow or another on my timeline on the YouTube channel, another 5150 Corey Holcomb reaction pops up. And I don't follow the show regularly, but you watch enough Roast Me episodes, you can't help but get sucked into the logarithm, and some of that stuff starts to pop up because some members from 5150 have shown up on Roast Me. You know, Corey Holcomb, Marcus, they since had a falling out for some reason. But that was on my timeline yesterday. So it was Corey Holcomb, Craig Smith, who was another superstar on Roast Me, and Darlene Ortiz, who was Ice-T's long-term girlfriend back in the day. Like, they were together for a long time. She was one of, not only was she his girlfriend back in the 80s, she's on a couple of his album covers from back in the day. But it's the three of them. Of course, Corey Holcomb cues everything up, has something to say about the fashions that some of the women were wearing. And it's not even, I mean, overall, a lot of people look a mess, even the new rap girlies. Like Lotto, love you down, girl, but the whole strap off the shoulder, and it's giving, I got this from Rainbow. But Lil Mo was a topic of conversation, as well as Remy Ma, both of whom are around the same age, both of whom are clearly dressing to be seen. Lil Mo, love you down, girl, but why the hell you dress like Darkwing Duck's partner in crime? And the thing about it, like, I hate when people wear the sheriff hats or the police academy hats and try to make it a fashion accessory. Lil Mo is all of about 4'8", 4'10" on a good day. There's that. The hat alone is too damn big. Then on top of that, you literally have purple bloomers on with all your thigh muscle and your legs out. It's clear from the front that you've had some work done to the back. You have on a bedazzled whatever on top. And you have on these Thundercat boots. I don't know if you're trying to go do Rhythm Nation in Vegas. I don't know if you off to fight Dr. Doom. I don't know what's going on. But it's clear to me, A, it's too small, and B, you trying to, I think you trying to pull another Drea, get another young dude. And it's just like, what are we doing? First of all, why are you there? You haven't put music out in a long while, and you've been doing the independent thing for a while. So why are you there? What the hell do you have on? But the theme that Corey picked up on between her and Remy Ma, who was damn near pretty much naked, was they just out here trying to get attention. You're allegedly separated from Papoose. Your son is facing murder charges. And you out here basically showing your whole reproductive system to people on the street. Now, those of us that have been outside for a while are aware. I've talked about America Undercover, talked about HBO back in its heyday. No, this is how the heifers dress down at Brewers Point in New York City. You know, the pimps up, hoes down. You basically dress like a streetwalker. Remy Ma, on the other hand, in difference to Lil Mo, is damn near almost 6 feet tall, I think. Never really struck me as somebody that dresses for the male gaze. Like, the sex appeal, an evening gown. She still kind of dresses like she's still shooting people, allegedly. But it's just, I don't know, the fit of the outfit, aside from the fact that she was damn near out there naked. Naked! It's the frame for me. Like, it's giving Xena. And I know I'm built like a chest freezer, but I know I couldn't pull that off. But why are you there? Why are you also there? Why are you also at the EBT Awards? You don't have a solo hit. They tried to really make something happen a couple years ago with the Melanin Magic song. It didn't quite work. He was just in hot water a couple months ago because word on the curb is you was fooling around on Papoose allegedly with a cypher rapper that literally looks like the Timu version of Papoose, and that's why y'all separated. And it's like, damn, what a way to go out on a dude that married your ass when you was in jail. And we didn't even know y'all two was together. Y'all came in, y'all did the Love and Hip Hop thing, y'all did the Cypher thing. We was talking about you for a little bit. You did the Sheether thing. That came and went. But no, like, music that we cared about. But Miss Mamas, you was at the EPT Awards while your son, your oldest son, is facing murder charges for allegedly deleting a guy a couple years ago in New York City. Priorities. So Corey Holcomb had me tickled talking about the EBT Awards, and between him and Craig, they are aware of what's going on. Like, even people our age are out here looking for attention. And the attire is a reflection of that. You call it what you want, but a lot of us that are from the streets, from the cities and stuff, we gonna speak true. You know what I mean? Whether you like it or not. You can call it whatever politically offensive, socially offensive thing you want to call it. But this climate these days, people are out here for the sole purpose of being seen and heard and not doing any of the actual work. Catch that tea. So I want y'all to pack all this shit up by close of business today. Like, get all that you got to say out at these barbecues. Tape it, don't tape it. Have the barbershop discussions, the round tables with y'all shitty hot takes, and pack this on up by close of business today. By the time you get to your last hamburger, hot dog from the grill, pack this up. So I've already talked about this a little bit, well, to great detail on Monday's episode on the podcast. Send in the Clowns episode, available everywhere, wherever you get your podcast outside of YouTube. I Refuse podcast is everywhere. Y'all were throwing yourselves on the sword, and y'all been doing this for a while, setting yourselves on fire over president, the current one sitting. Y'all have had so much to say about, this is giving bare minimum. If he can get in there, I don't want to come across another vacancy asking for the most in the minimum requirements. And it's just like so many years of I don't trust the lady in the pantsuit, but her emails, but her computer. So many years of getting caught up in what certain news outlets are telling y'all and short circuiting some of y'all's brain capacity while sucking y'all in, thinking that if I don't vote for 45, this country's just going to go to shit. You got people that's still thinking that, right? People with popcorn ceilings that think, if they don't vote for this dude or vote for somebody else, the value of their property is going to go down. The value of their retirement, which they're constantly taking money out against every year for home improvements, that shit's going to be real bad. And it's like, this is my opinion. The stock market is going to always stock market. The gas prices are always going to gas price. The fact that some of y'all know that retirement and valuation and stock market stuff has been interrelated for years, and you still sign up for it and pay into it and everything and think, y'all have like this emotional connection to retirement shit. And it's like, no matter what you do, no matter how much shit you say, it's ultimately up to y'all as individuals how much you want to put in, and if you want to continue working, or you just are like, I'm going to just cap it off at the minimum 55, 60, and I'm going to just retire and think I'm going to just live well. Some of us in our 40s right now are clearly aware, especially, that Florida is not an option for us and hasn't been an option for us in the last 15, 20 years. Stand your ground law is currently, slowly but surely over time, going to be nothing but an in-ground pool in the next 5 or 10 years. But y'all continue to keep moving down there to the point that not only are the super elderly down there, but people 5 or 10 years within my age are moving down there with, their thruples and their triads and their houseboys and stuff. And it's like, pretty soon, all of y'all are going to have to live on houseboats. Because like I said, it's sinking. And y'all have been told for years, global warming is a thing. And y'all keep voting people into seats and offices and shit down there that don't believe it to be true. While at the same time, in parallel, regressing society. But y'all keep falling, throwing yourselves in the sword and, setting yourselves on fire over the debate. When y'all have been focusing on that, the United States Supreme Court has continued their stuff. They have, the first thing that tipped me off, and I talked about this on Monday, was that they pulled out the Justice Department for what they felt was overreaching in the charging and convicting, overstepped their bounds with the insurrectionists from January 6th, that infamous day a couple years ago. which has opened the door for a lot of folks to get new trials, which at this point it would probably be court fatigue. So, they could possibly get their sentences overturned. They could possibly be relegated to time served or just probation, or it opens a lot of doors for re-experiencing, and which will result in lesser sentences if they even are sentenced, acquittals, hung juries, mistrials, yada 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 yada. And not only that, they have essentially, the Supreme Court, given immunity to certain folks that were presidents, currently on the race to possibly be president again. Immunity. Like, you could literally setting the stage for a certain person to do things with immunity. Go into November with a clean slate, a fresh face. I wouldn't say a fresh face, but just giving this person free reign. And I'm telling y'all, this is the thing. There's a lot of things, but this is the thing. Right before your eyes, and I've retweeted this not even 24 hours ago. Actually, I think Tuesday I retweeted this on my personal Twitter page, babyface alpha _ between the words. The man is on Time Magazine. All again. And with the retweet, the article itemized in the tweet are different things that could be headed our way. So you put that with the presidential immunity, we are possibly looking at a society where there is one authoritative power. And I can't remember if it's totalitarianism or one of them. One of those isms. And a lot of people on the timeline were like, almost like 1940s Germany, Europe. I'm not saying that man's name, but it's looking like that's where we're headed. Yet, week after week, hour upon hour, y'all keep saying the same shit. Well, I'm not voting for him, and yada yada yada, and all kinds of stuff as to why you won't vote, but you should. But you also should be paying attention to the Supreme Court. Y'all should have been doing this for years. For years. Like, the moment you started seeing people that had little to no judge experience or, litigation experience, court experience, like literally people in their early 40s being nominated to the Supreme Court. While 45 was sitting, But even then, it was still happening after that. And it was just like so young. And even like early 50s. But then on top of that, you see the committee hearings, going all the way back to when Kavanaugh was nominated. And it's just like, y'all let this go down when y'all watch. And this is, and I'm not even touching on Uncle Tom on the Supreme Court. This is where we are now. It's been a couple years since Roe versus Wade was overturned. You had, it's the Supreme Court y'all should be paying attention to, but more specifically, each individual state's administration. Like, they're doing some shit too. Like, it's happening not just in the Supreme Court, but in some of the states, particularly in the South. I have talked about Governor Landry, the governor of Louisiana, and his legislative session. It's things are becoming more targeted towards a specific demographic, people that aren't white. And it's happening in states and cities that are predominantly African American and people of color. Now it's getting to the point that they want 10 commandments in schools. They are making it less inspiring for those that want to organize and assemble a protest in 3 states, all of which are below the Mason-Dixon. That's not a coincidence. And and on top of that, Florida is sinking. And y'all continue to move down there. But y'all are so wrapped up in the debate that y'all ain't even paying attention. And I'm telling you, a hard head makes for a soft ass. You either going to learn on the front end, or unfortunately, a lot of y'all are going to learn on the back end. But you're going to learn. You're going to learn. And y'all are getting so wrapped up in what Fox News is saying or what some of these blogs are saying about, the negative focus around Biden and his son Hunter, that y'all aren't even clocking how they're like specifically targeting Kamala and trying to undermine the administration because they're cherry picking, the moments that, oh, well, you starting to wonder where is she at and why is she not out here? And anytime you do see her, she's just coming off incoherent and cackling uncontrollably during interviews and just any moment to kind of give this narrative that the Biden-Harris administration is just ineffectual and lackadaisical, and it's giving spring break all the time, and it's just like, is it true? I mean, it doesn't help. Every time we see Biden in public, he looks like he needs to be reset. Like, y'all done made memes about this man throughout the years, and it's just like, the man is in his 80s. However, this is what we have. And I know a lot of y'all don't want 45 to come back. But let's not act like the other variables that I mentioned just a bit ago is not going to, is not already, not setting up the stage for some real terrible shit to possibly go down. Like, you got to remember, while it's often been said the position of the president is the most powerful position in the world, they don't have a lot of, they don't have as much impact as you would think. It's still the Supreme Court, and it's people within the party and both sides. I mean, at this point, it's the lesser of two evils, is the approach. Like, there's shady shit on both sides. Um, there's double talking on both sides. It's just the Republicans have a better way of engaging with folks and connecting with folks, and their approach is the long game, and they've been working it. They've been calculating and, yes, provocative, um, but they're eating the Democrats up. The Democrats may be a little bit more polished, a little bit more charming, a little bit more personality and refined, I guess. But looking at it, they're kind of missing the mark. And I think the sooner a lot of us catch on to what's going on and paying a little bit more closer attention, the sooner you'll get it. But yes, let's just continue to eat up Biden and not pay attention to the people behind the curtain pulling the strings. Just saying. I also talked about this earlier this week on Monday's episode, Sending the Clowns. Listen, my antennas went up a couple of, last week? Last week, my antennas went up because out of nowhere, Facebook, the timeline was saturated with like missing children's things. People making posts saying, my nephew, my niece, my cousin, my sister, daughter, babysitter, girlfriend. It was just a bunch of kids missing out of Baltimore. And I was just like, well, goddamn. And I went into this whole thing about, it was funny how once the pandemic started, the Amber Alerts were kind of slowing down. And it made me cackle when y'all were like, see what happens when you got to watch your own kids? Now, one thing about Mr. Fox is when I find something funny, I laugh. But I also went to this thing about how when you go up and down 83 in Baltimore, they got that big ass digitized billboard. It looked like it cost a grip in a city that has like potholes everywhere. But y'all got, some up to date Las Vegas size digitized billboards with pictures and car information of another child snatched up. I think it's like a silver alert. And this is the car. And this is the old person, the adult that took them. And it was like, it's like a mother-in-law or, father-in-law or brother of disgruntled father snatching up the baby and taking them and stuff. And it's just like, God damn. But like I said, last week, my antennas was up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on down there in Baltimore? We just got out of Pride Month where y'all were cutting up while Saucy Santana was on stage performing. Who brings allegedly mace to a Pride event? See, y'all. I'm not doing large crowds. I dip in, get my little food to go, and I dip out. I order ahead. That's one thing I've learned in Baltimore. when I used to live there for many, many years around the corner from the Golden Dragon. Y'all on Facebook Live having shootouts in the lounge area. Yeah, I'm calling ahead. I'm not sitting in the parking lot. 5 minutes, within 5 minutes of the order being done, I'm over there, get the bag, and leave. But I was like, this is not, something is going on. Like, a lot of us should still be in the house anyway. Where are the adults? But there was one particular missing child's case that had a lot of people side-eyeing it almost from rip. 12-year-old girl. They said this girl, she was one of the missing. Soon as it broke, not even 3 4 hours later, word on the curb was that she wasn't actually missing because she allegedly left a note in the family house or, well, apartment saying that she was going up to Pennsylvania to be with this 20-year-old man, not to call the authorities, not to make it a big deal or whatever, and she'll be back. That's number one. That's the first one. 12-year-old girl telling a house full of adults, if there are adults in the house, where's she going, and don't make it a big deal. If in 1994, if I was to ever leave a post-it, a piece of composition paper with a note on it saying, I'm going out. Don't worry about me. Don't stay up all night. I'm going to another state to be with a man 10 years older than me. Don't call the cops. Don't make... Oh. My aunt and my uncle, my mama and my grandmother would have met me at the curb, ready to whip my tail. Like, what bills you pay, miss? What bills you pay? Second, that was a part of something. That wasn't even part of the story. But we not stupid, right? So I was like, okay. Time went by a little bit. It wasn't even the next day. They said she was found. I was like, oh, that's like 2 or 3 red flags right there. And where was she found? She wasn't in Pennsylvania, y'all. They found this girl. She was still in the apartment complex with a guy in his 20s in his apartment. They found her. They busted him. They busted both of them. They snatched him up, take him to the police station in cuffs and all this other stuff, and he talks. And he looks confused or whatever. They got her in the hospital or whatever, and she spills that over the past 2 or 3 days, she was essentially getting her back blown out by this dude. And he's like, we met at the playground in the complex, like at the park nearby. She told me she was in her 20s. She looked like she was in her 20s. And we kept in contact. So here's a couple of the other things. Because while, yes, he should definitely be thrown under the jail. And I even said, not only that, where were the parents? Not paying close enough attention. But also, here's the other thing. This 12-year-old girl never used her phone to keep in contact with this guy. She used her friend's phone. So she was already working it early on. Already working it. Already like already went in knowing how to like play. Like she was crafty. Like, I'm not going to use the house phone. I'm not going to use a phone near me. I'm going to use my friend's phone to keep in contact with you. But see, she's not going to be facing, most likely not going to be facing any charges. But y'all are missing, and this is part of my unpopular opinion. You know, aside from the fact that you weren't actually missing, and it makes it hard for legit missing children to be taken seriously. But you knew exactly what you were doing. But because you're 12 and you're deemed a little girl, the most you're probably going to get, if parents still do this, I don't know if you living with Big Mama or somebody, uncle or whatever, probably going to get disciplined. But you'll push through and live to see another day. You might get community service for lying or false reports or whatever and putting the city through it. But I'm sure, somebody in the family going to be like, okay, well, we're going to file a suit against it. But here's the other thing. Shout out to Murder Inc. Baltimore. The update with their story, they found, they attached a video of her, this 12-year-old girl, in what looks to be one of her auntie's evening dresses. The kind that they would wear down to Corinthians or a lounge in Baltimore. Like, dipping it low, dancing all, just, it looked like she was having a seizure, but I guess she thought she was Beyonce in the Dance for Me music video, Dance for You music video. Just really throwing it back. I'm like, where your mama at? Where your family at? Like, what else is going on over there? And it's like, I know society has a lot of us wired to like be there for the victim and be the hero for women that have been assaulted and sexually preyed upon. But I'm gonna need a lot of y'all to be a little bit more of the world, right? Like, there has to be some kind of recourse for women that intentionally go out for that kind of thing. And we're way beyond what I said earlier about, we're in a climate of people wanting to be seen and heard. They're adding more to it to where they're actually putting into motion that they're grown. How the fuck you tell a house full of whoever, oh, well, I'm going to be gone for, however long with a grown ass man. Don't wait up for me. And by that point, she had already been talking to this guy for a while. Had this man believing you are illegal. And add to that, the kids out here today, not all of them look like kids. I don't know if it's the vitamins in the milk. I don't know if it's like the steroids they're putting in the food or whatever. But y'all out here looking like y'all 12 when y'all actually 24. Y'all out here looking like y'all 24 when you're actually Just saying. So it's like for you, I mean, this guy's going to tell the truth. Um, you know, two things can be true. This girl can lie. Like there are a lot of things that people shouldn't do. That doesn't mean they don't do them. I believe that she told this man that she was 22, 24 at this park or whatever, and then she kept it going. Like you gotta, two things can be true. Yes, she is a sexual assault victim on the strength that she is underage, but we cannot ignore the fact that she lied to that man and got that man caught up. And for those of us that skip over over parts like that, there probably is a level of societal guilt and shame that most people feel when it comes to these kind of stories where it's like, oh, we should have did more, and I wish I was there, I could have stopped it, or I wish I was there to help her, and she needs all the healing and the prayers, and how about she needs all the parenting and the discipline? Because why are you at 12 years old putting on grown up clothes, whether it's cheap or not, doing these fast ass city girl videos, twerking and, working your 12-year-old, just for attention, and then actually apply it in the real world to lay up with some dude in his apartment? Just literally acting grown. Discussion needs to be had about where are the adults in the house? What are y'all doing? And just like there can be repercussions for parents of kids that do crimes, the same should be done for parents or legal guardians or any adult in the house over a child that does this kind of shit. Because this was a plan executed. No getting around that. This is this is no longer the Reading Rainbow, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood days. Like some of y'all should be stepping into y'all's Beyond Scared Straight era. Don't be mad at me, be mad at the game. Anyway, moving on. Couple more things and I'm gonna head on out. This week, y'all been coming at T.S. Madison and Charles and them over there, over Charles and Netta. Like, y'all don't, y'all aren't tickled at Charles and Netta. I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, it's not real over there in that house with Charles and Netta or wherever they are, whether it's an Airbnb or a Verbo rental or whatever. It's an urban play. We clocked it early on, and it was y'all giving us the tea on Charles and Netta that Charles and Netta are not an actual couple, allegedly. Charles is straight and married and has kids with some snow bunny. And because Charles and Netta are profitable and making money and getting all this stuff, that Charles is really just a personality at this point in the Charles and Netta show. And I'm telling y'all, it's an urban play over there. And I blame y'all for bringing these two to the center of the room. And Craig and Maddie over there, because y'all have brought Charles and Netta to the center of the room and keep talking about them and keep putting them in our faces, they become fair. It's an open market to talk about anything, and this is a consequence of that. But anybody that discusses them and the chaos and stuff for comedic entertainment value, which is the point, y'all are like, oh, Maddie's hating because Maddie's never been claimed as a trans woman and all sort of stuff. And it's like, that's so stupid, because here you have T.S. Madison, who has owned who she is, has never shied away from her past, and has kept it 100 since before Vine. And it's like, how can a person that was recently named Logo Icon, has gone from Vine to VH1 and back, kept her same energy, stayed true to who she is, and brought her friends along, be mad at another trans woman who's doing her thing? Like, there's enough out here for everybody to eat. But y'all swear it's hate, and it's just like, y'all really want to play into this narrative, produce a drama that's not there. I mean, Craig still does kind of tickle me when he refers to Miss Netta as long hair, and I'm just like, see, you ain't shit. But again, it's like, y'all are punching up. Y'all are doing it to other people in the community. Maddie got a boyfriend. Maddie ain't got to worry about, Maddie has a really nice house, a nice universe over there with her peoples, and everybody's funny, everybody clocks in, everybody does their thing, and Maddie hasn't slacked at all. Maddie can go out on the road if she wants to and be a headliner, and she's everywhere. Meanwhile, Charles and Miss Netta are in somebody's blow-up pool on the live, and Miss Netta is poking for a moment, so we can keep talking. Yeah, but it's funny how when y'all target certain people and call it hate, and it's just like, come on, what you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Donut? What you talking about? It's an urban play over there. I feel like it's not real over in Charles and Miss Netta's house. And I can clock every video over the last couple years is a production, is a moment. It's a soap opera. And none of y'all are turning away. None of y'all are coming to save Charles or save Miss Netta. Y'all are looking at the same shit that we're looking at, realizing that Louis Vuitton does not make outfits like that. Y'all were outside when They went in for the cosmetic surgery, and Charles got them ready to serve abs, and Miss Netta got her low level BBL or reconstruction surgery and came out looking the same. Um, it is what it is. I'm not tripping off of it, but y'all are, and y'all are punching up at people. The few that we have, positive representations, and during Pride Month and throughout the summer, I don't get it. But I still say Charles and Miss Netta are an urban play over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they end up in a Tyler Perry movie. I mean, Lee Daniels would never. He's coming out with something soon with Monique, Anjuan Ellis Taylor, the Anjuan Ellis Taylor, Audrey Day, and the Glenn Close. It looks to be a little dark, and I'm clocked in. Um, so that's all I got on that. And TGIF has been canceled. Look, I really wasn't clocked into the show like that to begin with. Um, I could take it or leave it. I really was barely clocked in when Funky was over there. But, Claudia sat down with Carlos King recently, which, why? You know what I mean? I saw the roast. I saw Auntie Lunel clock clock Al about the Star Jones marriage thing, and that was a little bit tense, even though that was like the marriage was like 20 something years ago. But the roast, no, it was a lot. It was a lot. A lot said. I'll say this, then I move on to the rest. Clearly, this is my opinion, and this is all alleged. Behind the scenes, when you have three co-hosts, two that have been on the show since its inception, and a newbie, and you have a birthday roast, and all of us who've been outside for a while know what a roast is. Um, for the newbie to have all that fire and desire in his roast, which it came off more like an attack. And it was a lot of BTS stuff. There's only one other person that could have fed Armin all that stuff, and I think it was Claudia. And it was risky for a new kid or a newbie to just come at somebody that while you may not agree with them or be besties with them, still very well connected and respected in executive spaces. Now you can still clown them all day, up one end, down the other, about the Star Jones thing, about him being bisexual, and did she know, and were you DL while you were with her. Like, there's a lot of material there. As toxic as it is, it's still going to be a topic of discussion and a weak spot. And he does get a little. Al tries to pass it off like, oh, it's okay, it's cool, but it's still a sore spot for you. Um, I personally could not care less, any less, because there are a lot of bisexual men out here, and it's not. It doesn't have to be a negative connotation like, oh, he's married to a woman or he's with a woman. He still is probably tiptoeing in the park and possibly exposed, that kind of shit. And it's just like, we haven't evolved from that yet. So it wasn't a roast, more so, there was definitely a dark energy from it. And Al was a good sport on the stream or the episode. But it was clear that Claudia, from my perspective, allegedly fed Armin all this stuff. Um, and essentially set Armin up to be the fall guy for it. Now, you could have just let it all play out and went on about your professional business. But it grew legs because first it was Al presenting one thing, one energy during the roast, as you know, as it was recorded, but then being having a different energy, calling Funky while he's live on his channel, sounding quite perturbed, and I was like, okay, pissed, pissed over that roast, and before you knew it, Armin was tweeting outside, from outside, then did a couple of response videos from his channel. And then bam, next thing you know, this Claudia Carlos King thing drops. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I watched probably like 5 or 10 minutes and I was just like, did we really, can't we just move on to something else? And, you know, up until that time, you know, there was talk that, oh, it was canceled and TGIF was canceled and it's on hiatus and all this other stuff. And it's just like, we keep reliving the shit. Between, you know, Tasha K saying her stuff and stirring the pot, throwing Funky Dineva's alleged pay, like the reason why he left the show, and even Funky Dineva responding to it, saying, you know, that's not true and all this other stuff. I'm just like, good grief. It's like the drama is its own show. Like this part is its own show outside of TGIF. And it's like all this shit going on in the world. So during that time, I was just like, okay, clearly things were not peachy keen, had not been peachy keen for a while behind the scenes. Pretty much since Funky Dineva was the third co-host. And, you know, Funky only said but so much anyway, since leaving in December. But not to the extent that everybody else was saying it. But it was only until it got to, well, the reason for him not being on over at Fox Soul anymore that he started to talk more. And it was something to the effect of, well, I felt it, you know, they wanted us to do more work while cutting our episodic rate down, which meant do more, like an hour and a half, more days a week, while cutting the rate down, and then getting into the particulars once Tasha K had said her part. He was like, well, that's not necessarily true. And then he went into this whole thing, and I was just like, thinking to myself, you know, Fox Soul more or less, TGIF more or less, is the same shit that you're doing on your own channel. Like, you're sitting there doing the same shit. You wouldn't want to make more income, more income. I mean, $250,000 a year. Shit, I would like to make that. And that's on top of what you're already making from your own channel. And you're sitting there Why would you want to cut that out? And then I got to thinking, maybe he thought he deserved as much as Claudia or as much as Al. And it's like, I mean, Claudia was famous pre YouTube. Al was, well, no, nobody knew who Al was before Star Jones. But Claudia, the Deal or No Deal model, Claudia, the event presenter, Claudia, the spokesperson, Claudia, the model, Claudia, that's done movies and TV shows, like, and then on top of that, she is a producer on the show. So not only is she getting, which is not the same money bag, she's getting money for being a host, but she's also getting money for being the producer creator of TGIF. It's not the same. And she's not just one thing, she's multiple things. And I didn't think it was necessary for her to be sitting with Carlos King. I didn't. Like, let people say what they say. It's what you answer to. That's a reflection of who you are. And watching some of that interview was, I could see what some of the people were saying in the comments, that there is a bit of an untrustworthy energy that emanates from Claudia from time to time. Um, a double talker, allegedly, a person that's not above working both ends in her favor. Um, you know, example, giving Armin some tea, putting him in a position to be her mouthpiece, to say all the things that she can't say. Because to some degree, Claudia and Al are on the same playing field. Both are well connected. Um, both of similar chameleon abilities, can really work multiple rooms and different parts of media. Not just a vlogger, not just an actor, not just a presenter at events. A real, a personality, right? Which in the long game, you get more money from being a personality than just a YouTube personality. No shade to Funky or Armin, but there's more cachet there. So just off rip, you're not all going to be making the same amount of money. But unfortunately, because y'all can't shut up about things, TGIF has been canceled. Fuck a hiatus. So now nobody's making money. Moral of the story is this. Shut up. Shut up. It didn't have to get unprofessional so damn fast. Y'all let a lot of people in the comment sections, a lot of people in the street, a lot of people behind the scenes getting y'all's head about what it really meant, and you know, who put you there, and you didn't have to go as hard, and there's clearly something going on that's not right. And I don't trust that half a lot of biases that y'all have held for Claudia since before Atlanta Housewives have come to the top, and now nobody's getting money. And at the end of the day, Claudia and Al don't need TGIF. Like, she stays booked. Y'all can say whatever y'all want about her, but she's not pigeonholed to a particular show. She's not pigeonholed to a particular channel. She's not pigeonholed to a potential to a particular outlet. She's going to continue to work. And people can't take it. People just can't take it. And they can say, oh, well, it was this and not her, or it was the powers that be. And it was just like, don't nobody care about all that, because nobody's coming at the executives. Nobody's coming at Al. And how did Al get hair all of a sudden? I've been saying that for a while. Like, he has a whole, like, El DeBarge, pompadour, perm kind of situation going. I'm like, all right, look at you, Jackie Wilson. Now nobody's making money. I mean, everybody's gone back to Eliminate Stan, a YouTube channel, do their thing. But it didn't, the brief time that Armin was on TGIF didn't really open more doors for him. He went back to his channel. Al has, you know, a number of followers on his channel. Okay. And Funky is doing the lives and the interviews. Kind of shifted the trajectory of his channel. But Claudia will stay booked. Tasha K should probably focus on that $4.5 million she has to pay back to Cardi B. And we move on to other things. But the I Refuse podcast will still be here. Trying to think what else. We touched on a lot this past hour and a half. And I realized it had been 2 weeks. And that's just what it is. Oh, what else? Oh, keep a lock on the I Refuse podcast. 5 seasons available wherever you get your podcast. We're about 47 episodes in season 5 of the Apple Podcast and the Spotify podcast, I Refuse podcast. Also check out and show love to the Usual Suspects podcast. The YouTube channel is here. Got the WordPress blog, the Twitter link at I Refuse podcast. Follow, subscribe there. The link is on the profile there, and the IG at I Refuse podcast _ between the words. So yeah, there you have it. I will catch you guys later. Peace. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse.